My full name is Bassam Rabah. I'm from Darjagab.
When and where were you born?
I was born in Ramallah, 1950.
Please state your mother and father's full names.
My mom's Layla Joseph Bateh, and my father is Hanna Yaqub Rabah.
Please state your grandparents' full names on both sides.
My mom's is Khalil Bateh. My father's side is Yaqub Rabah.
And your mom's mom?
My mom's mom is Teta Hilwa. I think we used to call her Teta Hilwa Bateh. And my father Zarife Rabah.
What did your parents do for a living?
We had a manufacturing factory producing furniture. The Rabah is well known in the furniture business, and they used to do and export to Jordan, to the Kuwait area, and locally also.
And your mom?
My mom, they immigrated to the States in the 50s. They have what do you mean? What I mean, grocery, small grocery shop, and they were living out of it.
Do you have any personal memories of your grandparents?
Well, as far as I know, my teta, she used to have a couple cows to milk and sell. This is what I heard from my family. And Zarife, her name again, I just mentioned her name, Zarife. And she was taking care of six sons. Her husband died in 1948 during the war, and she was, in a sense, taking care of the living of the children. They were young, and she had a couple cows, like I just mentioned, to feed them first. And the Rabah family, we used to have quite a few of trees, fruitful trees, where she used to sell to feed them, and to feed them in an actual, as fruit type of thing, all kind of fruits. As far as they told me, we used to have.
And tell us one of your most memorable stories you heard from your grandparents.
Well, I just mentioned quite a few about them. They worked very hard. They were young. They went to different, not high school, industrial schools. My father got to be a carpenter in a sense. My his brother Yaqub, he went through also industrial, but in steel type of thing, doing steel type of thing.
Did your grandparents tell you stories from their childhood, from their experiences? What did they tell you?
Well, the only one, my Teta Zarife, she, when I came back from the States, she was telling me stories about different things in Ramallah, and the way, like I just mentioned, she has a couple cows doing milk and cheese and dairy products for the family, and to sell the extra.
What did she tell you about Ramallah?
Well, She always loved Ramallah. She loved the way her children were living in Ramallah, and the successful stories about the Rabah family. They moved up from being, after their father died, they started have the courage, in a sense, to start business. And they started small business and grew up to be a factory, the Rabah factory, furniture factory, hiring more than 100 employees in that factory. And fortunately, the factory, I have it. I bought it from the family, and I have it. I own it now.
What traditions did you practice while growing up, and do you still practice the same traditions?
Well, traditions is a different kind of tradition in a sense. And during the 1967 war, I had to go to, it's not I had to go, I left Palestine to the States. I finished college, and not high school first in the States. So the memory is kind of rare, it's not, I have a lot of memories in the States more in Ramallah, in that sense. But I still, when I was 16 and a half, whatever, I have a lot of memories with my friends and the way we used to live and to have fun and whatever.
Describe your home in Ramallah. How many bedrooms did it have? Bathrooms? Did it have modern amenities? Did you share a room?
What are we talking about, the old times or the new, right now? Are you talking about the old times?
Yeah, are you living here in the US?
No, I'm living here, and
talk about the old times.
The old times, okay, before I left to the States, okay, we had a house with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, living rooms, dining area. I'm trying to remember. That's it, kitchen and so on.
Did you share a room with anyone?
No, I have my private room. My brother have his room, and so is my sisters.
What part of Ramallah did you live in, and who else lived with you?
Well, I lived in a sense, downtown Ramallah, next to the municipality park, and nobody lived except what I just mentioned. I have my own room and so on. My brothers and my sister.
Did you live in that house the whole time you lived in Ramallah? If not, where did you move?
I lived in the same house till I moved to the States after the war, '67. Before Christmas, I immigrated to the States to finish high school in the States and then college. And I worked for a while in the States. Then I came back to start my factory. I had a factory producing PVC pipes, different dimensions, different sizes. And I was the first one to start this business in Ramallah with I don't want to say highly cost. It was very expensive type of investment to start that business, and feasibility study wasn't 100% according to that project, but it was between 60 and 70, so we went through it. And I worked producing pipes for 30 years, from 1982 till 2012. Now I'm retired. I'm doing volunteer works with different organizations, institutions in Ramallah. The Ittihad Abna Ramallah, the Palestinian Greek uh, Palestinian Greek organization. I'm on the board of those organization, and I'm on the board of Ramallah Chamber of Commerce of Ramallah and Al Bira district. So I'm spending a lot of times just doing different things in Ramallah to help our people who needs help. Where I could help, I'm ready, or I always do to help them.
Are you living now in the same house that you lived before?
Well, I did, but I renovated it. You know, it was an old house. I'm still, living in the same area.
As a child growing up in Ramallah, what did you do for fun?
Well, let me remember. We used to play soccer around here and there in the high school playground. We used to go swimming, different places where it's available for us and very close to our house. So I learned swimming actually in Ramallah, and in Beit Hanina area. Swimming pool was next to King Hussein's house. I don't know how many people know that, but there where I learned how to swim, I kept going every summer to the same place to swim. I had membership there.
Were you able to travel easily from village to village back then?
Yes, it was easily, no problem whatsoever. Yes.
And can you say it in a full sentence, because my voice won't be?
I'll
ask it again. Were you able to travel easily from village to village back then?
Yes, we used to travel easy, no problem whatsoever. It was open area. We did not have any problem traveling from area to area.
What is one of your most vivid memories of Ramallah growing up here?
Well, it's a kind of difficult question, but you surprised me about this question. But well, having good time with my friends, playing pool, Al Ankar pool house. We had used to call Al Ankar house. We used to go there, and football. We did not have baseball or tennis or any courts like that. All we had is, not American football, regular football, European football at that time. And that was the fun, what we used to do, going to movies. Ramallah has two kind of movie theaters at that time. Dunya, called Dunya, and we used to go to it, and Al Walid in Al Bira area. That was the fun at that time, what we used to do.
When the Arab-Israeli conflict began, what were some of the immediate changes you experienced living in Ramallah?
Well, honestly, after the occupation, my father made a big choice for me to immigrate to the States. My mom, American citizen, her name is Layla Batah. Her family lives in Jacksonville. And because she's American citizen, I immigrated as immigrant to the States to finish high school.
How long did you live in Ramallah during the conflict?
Well, till I was 16 and a half. Then I immigrated to the States. I went to high school there, and to college. Then I worked in 1979. 79, sorry, I got married to Joanne Batah, and we left the States, we came back.
يعني قديش قعدتوا
In the States?
during the conflict?
I stayed after the war, 67, I stayed a couple months, and then I left to the States.
What did you and your family do to survive?
During the war or during the incursion or the war in 67? Well, it's going to be a long story. To make it short, we left to Jericho, to our house and yard in Jericho. Then I left with my two uncles to Amman. We didn't know what's going to happen, or my father and my mother at that time, they didn't know what's going to be happening. So I went to Jordan. In Jordan, I stayed almost a month. Then he sent a message to come back to the bridge and to go back to Ramallah, and which I did. Afterward, I immigrated to the States. Within those 2 months period through Jordan, coming back to Ramallah, then I immigrated to the States.
Where did you go to school in Ramallah?
I went to Al-Ahliya, they called Al-Ahliya College, high school. It's a college, but it's high school. That's the name of it, Al-Kulliya Al-Ahliya in Arabic. Yeah.
Did you work? If so, what did you do?
What? Sorry, say it
Did
again.
you work? If so, what did you do?
During what time?
Right after school.
Oh, when I went to the States, I went to the high school. I worked in a fish place. After school, after whatever hours of school, Suzy Q restaurant. It's a fish restaurant. It's well famous in Detroit. Afterward, they upgraded me to be a dishwasher. It was funny at that time, leaving Ramallah with a well-to-do family, going to the States in high school, working as busboy, and then dishwasher. They upgraded me, like I mentioned. That was my first job in the States. It was tough, but it was needed at that time.
When and where did you meet your spouse? Did you know her in Ramallah?
No, in the States.
Can you say it in a full sentence?
Well, she's... well, after finishing college and so on, I want to go back to Ramallah. My apartment, I brought the guys from Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, to take whatever they want from the apartment, because I decided to leave to go back to Ramallah. So I went to say goodbye to my family in Jacksonville, where I met Joanne. She was off at that time, and her parents and her mom, everybody was working except her. So we used to go to the beach. Then we get to know each other, and we get married and came back. Yallah. It's quick, but that's honestly the truth. That's what really happened.
How and when did you get engaged and married?
19...
I got engaged or married.
Okay. Well, delete شوي وارجع. أتذكر. I know when I got married, but engaged خلينا نقول في أغسطس في جون. Okay.
How and when did you get engaged and married?
I was engaged in June. I think it was 9th or 10th in June. I got married in August 5th. 1976.
How and when did you get engaged and married?
In June, I was engaged in June, either 9th or 10th in June. I was get married in August 5th, 79.
What is your occupation and what is your spouse's occupation?
I had a factory producing PVC pipes. In 1982, I started production, producing different kind of sizes, from 50 millimeter to up to 200 millimeter type of pipe, all of it sewage. Plus, I used to produce PVC pipes for electrical purposes and telephone purposes, which is 6 meters. The length of it 6 meters. I stayed in production till 2012, the end of 2012. So I worked 30 years straight producing pipes, selling to different sections, to the Gaza and 48 Palestinian areas, and the West Bank for sure. I did sell a little bit to the Lebanese southern area, a little bit, but not much. My wife, she did not work till my boys finished high school. She had 2 degrees, 1 degree in nursing, and the second in X-ray technician, in a sense. And now she's working with Dunya Medical Center for breast cancer of women. She's in charge of that department, and that's actually what we're doing.
Did you go on a honeymoon?
What should I answer that? Yes, I did. I went to Puerto Rico for a couple of weeks. I don't know, whatever.
How many children do you have?
I have 3, 2 boys and 1 girl. My boys, they studied in all of them studied in the States actually, and they're working here. My little girl, she's working in Washington, D.C. right now, and finishing her master's degree in, it's not business actually, it's in human resources, whatever.
Tell us about leaving Ramallah for the U.S. When did you leave? What mode of transportation did you take? How was your journey? Who did you travel with?
Well, I left to the States through Jordan, or I'm not sure, I think through the Israeli borders in Tel Aviv or Ben Gurion Airport at that time. 19, after the war, 1967.
Who did you travel with?
I traveled by myself, and it was hard. Now, for asking me this question is reminding me how difficult it was leaving. I was 16 and a half, left Palestine, Ramallah, and going to New York, and I have to go to Newark, not New York Airport, after, to travel to Detroit, where I went to high school and so on. So it was really tough at that time, but I managed. But every time I think about it, I feel the agony of leaving my hometown, going to the States, leaving everybody in a bad situation, occupation, and so on. I don't want to go in the political arena right now, but it was really hard for me to leave my family, my sisters, and my father and mother, and leave to the States like a scapegoat to the States, and they are under occupation. I don't know what might happen to them. So that was really tough, and all the time when I was in the States, in high school and later on in college, thinking about that, how did I leave them? It was really tremendously tough, and it was not tremendously only, it was really agony for me to leave my family and just go.
How old were you?
I was 16 and a half when I left.
Describe your feeling. Were your children born in the U.S.? If so, how many?
No, they were born here. My wife, she's American citizen, I am American citizen. So my children were born American overseas.
They were born in Ramallah?
They were born in Ramallah, yes, and they took the American citizen by وقف شو اسمه.
How easy was it to assimilate and blend into the American society? And if you did speak English at that time?
Well, it was kind of difficult to travel from here to the States, first of all. When I went to high school, I knew how to speak English, but I was afraid to speak it. I understood the American or the English language. But it took me a while, I don't know, 3-4 months. Then I blended in the society where I started speaking fluently like they did. My age was 16 and a half again, and it did not take me a long time to blend in the society, in the American society, in high school especially. It wasn't that difficult, but it was okay at that time, as far as I remember.
Can you talk a bit about your neighbors and where did you live in the U.S.?
Well, I lived in Michigan, first of all, in Detroit area called Royal Oak. Then I moved after Royal Oak, I went to Schoolcraft Community College. It was in Livonia. Then I went to Wayne State University, downtown Detroit area. So that was where.
How did you blend with your neighbors?
Well, actually in the States you don't have neighbors. You have doors next to each other. You don't see them. If you see them, you don't say hi to them. They don't say hi to you. Everybody's living on his own. Actually, the only time we blended with the Arab community, especially the Palestinian, the Ramallahite people, and sometimes in Dearborn area where you have Yemeni and you have Lebanese, Shia, Sunni, whatever. That's the only time I used to see Arabs, actually. When in high school, in college, we used to be in different sector, in different areas. We don't see the Arab community as much.
And with the Americans?
The Americans, I used to have good kind of friends. Some beer drinkers, they want to play cards and golf and tobogganing. In Detroit it snows a lot, and to think about it right now, golf areas used to close because it's wintry type and snowing type. So we used to go have playing cards, not gambling card, and drinking beer, during the breaks. Well, it took that was for a couple months, and I quit all of that because it wasn't the right thing to do first, and I was there for a mission to be educated and go back home, and that's what I really did.
Do you have any family members remaining in Ramallah, or are they all in the U.S.?
No, we have 95% of my family in Ramallah. I have an uncle living in Detroit, Michigan, with his family, actually, for sure. And the rest of the family, Rabah family, actually living in Ramallah.
And since you immigrated to the U.S., when did you travel back to Ramallah?
Well, I left, as I mentioned, after 67 war. I came back in 1979, after I got married, as I mentioned, to Joanne Batta. And we're still living in Ramallah since. We go back vacationing-wise to the States, to her family. And I bought a house in Houston, by the way. And my children were living in it. Before the crisis of the economic crisis in the States, I sold the house and the children came back. Not the children, the young men came back. We built houses here in the Tira area. They got married, and we're living happily till now. And thanks God for all what He gave me. Money-wise, encouraging you, and happiness.
Describe how Ramallah feels to you.
Well, Ramallah in the 60s was something, and now it's something else. In the 60s, used to be a small community. Everybody knows each other. Everybody at a certain point relative to each other. Now, Ramallah, it's a big city. It's a city where I feel might be, it is actually, not me, the capital of Palestine in the economical section. Jerusalem is the capital of Palestine. Ramallah is the capital right now, the industrial, till we liberate Jerusalem from the Israelis. So Ramallah and the growth of Ramallah during those 15, 20 years is tremendous. Different areas, different buildings, different restaurants, different coffee shops. I don't want to say bars, but there is some bars here and there. So Ramallah could, in a sense or other, expecting people from different, let's say, cities, different areas, accepting people from Jenin area, Nablus area, Khalil area, all over. So it's a capital by its sense, being a capital of Palestine on the economical level. So hi Ramallah, when yesterday, I just want to mention this. I don't know if you want to hear it or not. Sorry, you could cut it or whatever. Yesterday, what the municipality and what the convention did, and the opening of the convention in the municipality park, it was tremendous. It was a lot of efforts. It was really nice. Something you cannot see it in New York sometimes, on the anniversary of the 4th of July in the States. So Ramallah yesterday or the day before showed how important Ramallah is, how important the Palestinians are, and how important to have our freedom and rights in this area. In the final analysis, you sit down and say, okay, why those people occupying me? I have more power, more educated people, I don't know, intellectual peoples to run this area and to have two states, Palestinian and Israeli states, where we might live together in peacefully and harmony, and our children will live and grow in peace and love, and to say no more occupation. We are the only country occupied more than 70 years and still under occupation. Somehow, somewhere, sooner or later, it has to be stopped, and we should have our liberation, in a sense, liberty, and our Jerusalem as our capital, and the PLO, our legitimate representative of the Palestinian people. I don't know, I don't want to go through politics. We're talking about the convention now, and we're trying to do whatever for our people in the States and here. And I don't want to go in more details on the political arena. I think I will stop right there.
Do you think you will see peace in your lifetime?
I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. If I cannot see it in my lifetime, I want it to be at least in my children's, my grandchildren's at least lifetime, where, as I mentioned a minute ago, our freedom, our Jerusalem as our capital, and the PLO, our representative forever. Okay, that's it. We cannot live under occupation that much. It's enough, it's enough, it's enough for the world to understand that those people, the Palestinian people, cannot anymore keep just looking around, and we are the only people under occupation till now. It has to be stopped soon.
What are you doing in support of the Palestinians?
Well, we're having conventions like this to educate people, you know, about our case, our agony, about the occupation, for our people in the States to know there is occupier, and this occupier is very mean. It's not very mean. He's very harsh. He's a killer. We need people to get, not our people only, the international community, to understand our case, to understand the agony we're living in. Okay, it's not only the Russian or the European Union or the Chinese supporting our cases. We need more. We need liberty, we need stop the occupation, we need our independent Palestinian state. Jerusalem is our capital, and that's what we're fishing for, that's what we're fighting for, that's why we're working as hard as we can to do that.